Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another movie review. This movie is brought to me by BET Plus called Sugar Baby. They just dropped it, so we're gonna check it out. It stars Lance Gross, Teresa Salette. So let's get into it. So Jade is like this young 24-year-old girl living with her boyfriend Jiro. So Jiro and his friend Hakeem basically are into like in the streets, like robbing, stealing, and killing people. So she's at work or whatever the case may be, and he's supposed to pick her up. Meanwhile, he's nowhere in sight. So she ends up calling him. He's in his car, a stolen car with his friend Hakeem, counting money and stuff like that. So he was told that his friend had to leave, and he went to go pick her up. So when she pulls up in front of where she's at, he's like, she's like, where did you get this car from? He was like, this is my car. So she gets in, she realized he got stuff in the back, and she was like, oh, what's this for me? He was playing it off like, oh, this is your surprise. It's a pair of stilettos. They decided to go out later on that evening to celebrate, because now he got $30,000. And she's like, what did you do? Kill somebody? He didn't even answer that question. So he was like, listen, they was drinking wine, they were the case, but he was like, so let's get out of here because this right here is making me, horny. So as soon as they leave out the restaurant, cops pull up and was like, you're under arrest for killing this person. And she's like, what are you doing? Get off of him. And one of the cops was like, listen, shut up, lady. Like, let us do our job. So eventually she gets back home. Not even like, and he was like, find my stuff and then get back to me. So she goes home, start looking for stuff. Next, there's a lock. The doors start getting messed with. So she runs to the kitchen part. Comes to find out Hakeem and some other guy broke into the house looking for some money. The other guy found the money in the microwave. She looked to see who it was, and she was just like, mm. So she goes to see him, I think the next day, and she tells him, like, listen, he was robbed by Hakeem. I told you to stop messing with him. And while she was listening to them still, she overheard that Hakeem is the one who put him in jail in the first place. He basically took the heat off himself and put it on to Jiro. So now Jiro basically got to sit in jail, and Jiro told her, like, you're a beautiful woman, like you should um use it to your advantage. And she was just like, okay. So now he told her to fend for herself. She had to move her back in with her mom. Her mom has a life of being out in the streets. So now her mom's telling her, listen, I helped you. Now you need to help me, like, get your sister ready for school, help her as she comes home from school. She ended up finding a job at this restaurant place. The manager name is Angel and stuff like that. I skipped the part, but it's all gonna tie back on into this. So in the beginning, it starts off with Angel with her man Drew. They hosting like this party, and there's a whole bunch of fine women and stuff like that. And Anthony is playing cards with Drew at the table. Um, Drew wanted Angel to show Anthony her friend Dominique, but she's um away in Belize on a trip, so that didn't happen. So Anthony decided to leave the party. So then we get into all this other stuff. So meanwhile, Angel ends up giving Jade a job, and then she started working her way up. Eventually, she started seeing these girls come in, hot girls, thinking that they IG models and whatnot. That wasn't the case. Angel told her those are sugar babies, and she basically didn't. She said, "I will tell you some more about this later." So eventually, it got to the point where one day, um, not Angel, Jade was fed up with her life because she's back home helping her mom, take care of her kids, take care of her kid, sister, whatever the case would be, and that's not her job. So she started playing second mom, and Angel kept hearing her stories, and she was just like, okay. Eventually, it got to the point when Jade got off one day. Um, her mother, Terry's boyfriend, Teron, was trying to hit on her, and then just when that happened, um, her mother came in. and because Teron wanted her to sit next to him on the couch, and he took off his shirt and threw it at Jade while she was in her room, trying to like stand by her dress and get her life together. Her mom walked in just in the nick of time, so her mom, Teron, easily told her mother that Jade was trying to like sexually advance him, and Jade was like, "That was not the case. That's not what happened." Long story short, the mother believed the boyfriend and kicked Jade out the house. So now she's packing up her stuff, and she ended up leaving after leaving. But her sister went and gave her a hug, talk about I guess she missed her. I guess she wasn't used to seeing her sister like that, so now that seeing her sister like that made her feel like she's gonna miss that. So after that, she started like riding the buses or whatever the case may be. She stood out all night, and then when the restaurant opened, she slipped in and went to sleep in the back. Next, you know, Angel gets there, and she was like, "What are you doing here? There's customers out front, and it's now what afternoon time." She's like, "Listen, I've been here all night, stuff like that." So Angel was like, "I'm gonna take you back to my place." She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna just let the manager know. I am the manager." So Angel invites her to her place. Jade is now staying in one of her guest rooms. And later on that night, she overhears a whole bunch of commotion. It ended up being Angel, Dominique, and her friend Nokia talking about how they're like sugar daddies are doing this for them and stuff like that, telling stories. And then not Angel, Jay woke up and went downstairs, overheard the conversation. When they got to one point, she was like, "That's nasty." And the Angel was like, "Oh, you're finally up, sleepyhead." So they basically welcomed her into the group. Angel lets them know that there's a party tomorrow, and Jade was like, she's not going. And then all you hear is Jade was like, "I don't have anything to wear," and Angel's like, "You always talk about the wrong things, like girl." So they end up going to the party the next day, and they basically put her on to game of what she really got to do and stuff like that, and how the thing goes. Her friend Nokia gets her man, and they leave. Drew gets her man, and no, Drew. Angel gets Drew, and he shows her some things that she leaves. So now it's just Dominique and Jade. Um, Dominique's man, Hugh comes to try to like talk to her, and she wasn't feeling the game. Then he tried to throw himself onto her. She was just not here for it. Next, thing you know, Anthony comes out of nowhere, and he basically saves her from that situation. And they chopped it up real quick. Then she's about to leave, get an Uber, but Anthony insists that his driver take her home. So eventually he takes her home, and then it's now the next day. Jay makes smoothies, and Angel comes in and tells her like what happened. Like you was up with Speedy Gonzalez out there, track star, and she's like, "Listen, I just wasn't feeling it. It was just uncomfortable, and so on and so on." So they're working and whatever the case may be. Next couple of days go by. Um, she gets to work. Anthony's there talking something about I always wanted to see you, Jade. And then she just decided to go on a date with him. And then when they get home, Angel was like, so who was at the restaurant? She was like, Anthony Walton. She was like, I wonder how he know where I work. She was like, yeah, it was on me, guilty as charged. Because Drew was asking about you. And then when he realized it was one of you, the daddies, it would have to be him. It was like, okay. So, long story short, Jade and Anthony started hanging out more and more each time. She basically started falling in love with him. Jiro would call from time to time, and she would basically ignore his calls. So it was going good. And then Angel was like, once you fall in love, they're gonna put you in check. So they did research on Anthony. He's a we would say eligible bachelor because his wife died a few years ago. One day he ends up giving Jade his car, keys to the house, and a credit card to do whatever she wants. So her and Angel end up going shopping, buying everything. So it's later on that day they happen to step out some store. Next, they look to the corner of their eye because supposedly Anthony had some meetings, and they end up seeing him hugged up with some girl. So you already know Jay went to confront her. Temper got the best of her, and things went left. So um Jade ended up going back to um Angel's house, and she was just like, "Listen, your temper is something else. You need to work on that." So they were just speaking for days on end. Next, you know, come to find out that woman that Anthony was hugged up on was his daughter. So he basically was telling his daughter how things were going, and she was like, "Yeah, you're really smitten by her." And they also went on picnic dates, and Jade drew this picture of him. So he took a picture of it and showed it to his daughter, and he was like, "Listen, if she's the one, you need to make it known. Let her know that you know you're all in." So they end up reconciling their differences and stuff like that. And come to find out, Anthony went to the restaurant with the daughter and Angel. He proposed to her, and she got to meet his daughter, and things was going good. Just in the nick of time, Jiro got out. Um Jay went to go pick him up. That should have been a red flag right there. You should have never like compromised that because that was wrong. So he eventually gets to the place. They talk about nice whip, cars, and everything. And he basically tried to like get some from her. She wasn't having it, so he tried to get it by any means necessary. She didn't feel comfortable with that, so she was just like, leave me alone. She was leaving going to Angel's house and then telling him how she let Jiro, tell her how she let Jiro into his house. And that was a big no no. So eventually Jiro left. Guess she threatened to call the cops and he left. So after that, um, Anthony and Jade, they was back home chilling. Next, there's a knock on the door. It ended up being Jiro. Jiro basically was trying to rob him because he's a wealthy man, but he seems like a regular dude, so he wanted the money that was in the safe. Then him giving the code once Jiro hit Anthony in the back of his head and he shot him in his chest because they was going at it. Um, Jiro decided to stand in front of Anthony while Jay went in the back to go get the money out the safe. She finds the gun and the money, she brings it out, and then he was like, "Listen, let's go get this stuff money. We about to leave him." And Anthony thinks you and Jade set me up. He was like, no, she ain't had nothing to do with this. So, um, Jade was about to give him the money, but he was like, let me see the money. She was like, no, let me help Anthony first. Next, Jade pulls out the gun. She shoots Jiro two, three times. They end up he falls to the ground, and she goes to check on Anthony. They call 911. Fast forward 3 months later, they get married. Um, they're somewhere in Monaco on the beach or whatever, having a good time. That was like the best ever like sugar baby story or whatever I've heard, even though it's fictional, but still. Sometimes people be having it like that, like they got it made in the shade. Um, um, Jay shows pictures to Angel and nobody back at the restaurant. They was like, yeah, we did it good for her, and then Angel was talking about how she wanted to like find something else just besides Drew. They give her options, and they was like, well, listen, if you don't make it good in this restaurant business, you can always do matchmaker. And they was like, yeah, yeah, I can't wait. I hope they come up with a part two because this is actually pretty good. Definitely recommend it. In the end, Jade got what she wanted. She got her man. She got a nice house. She ain't got to work for nothing. And it's all legit. And she ain't worried about nobody going to jail. Like, sometimes your experiences and negativity might be a blessing in disguise. Okay? So, with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this recap. And it wasn't too all over the place. So, with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.